Shout out to my stat junkies and hot takers who don't know nothing. This one's for you.
Under control.
Chiefs have not led in this game. They trail 27-21.
Can the Eagles stop? Quick throw. Tony's got it. Tony walks in. Touchdown, Kansas City.
Here we're about to dive into some man beater concepts, focusing on the concept of mesh. So you're wondering, what is mesh? As I said, it's a man beater, but what it is, it's two crossing routes. So in other words, two underneath routes, you can describe as two drag routes, you can describe as two shallow crossing routes. Everybody has different terminologies, but at the end of the day, the concepts are the same. One guy's going underneath, one guy's going over the top, and you're trying to create a rub in the middle on whoever is guarding the underneath guy. So as I mentioned, it's two routes crossing each other underneath. You want to meet in the middle, and you're trying to get in the way. You're trying to create a rub on the defender that's guarding the underneath route. And typically the guy going underneath is your playmaker. So here, Noah Gray, getting right in the way. It's just you can't make contact. You just got to get in the way, change the path of the defender. Here's another good example. Rashid Rice at the bottom. He's going to be the one going underneath. Here's the crosser trying to get in his way. That's enough. Rashid Rice is wide open. So what's great about these, or in other words, it's a man beater, and there's exceptions to it, but right here, this is cover zero. When you hear cover zero, that means 6 rushers are coming, and all the other 5 eligibles, they are manned up. Cover 1, it means there's 1 safety playing back. So the numbers represent how many safeties or how many guys are playing back. And you can do different variations. The last one, you see the linebacker blitzing. This one, you can have the linebacker played as a robber. Cover 2 means you have two safeties back, but this isn't cover 2. This is cover 2 man under. Cover 2 are the safeties, man under, man across. So just like the last example, rather than have the extra linebackers blitzing, you can have them play back and be a robber. So now you know what mesh is. Here's mesh railroad. It's a running back going on a wheel route with mesh as your second read. So breaking this down, a lot of times, all the time, the running back is going to be to the hash. And right there, if no one covers the running back, that is your first read. The second read is going to be the mesh concept, the player that's underneath. So right here, Chiefs take away the railroad. The read number 2 is wide open. I'm going to go over the different reads and the progression and the pass protection here in a minute. So first off, as I mentioned, the running back is going to be on the right hash mark. So the railroad is always going to go to what hash you're on. Second off, Chiefs go in motion. They rotate the man coverage. But right here, watch the underneath route. Wide open. Look who the guy's picking him. He runs into the Chiefs player. That is illegal. You can't run into them. You can't, let alone knock them down. So that's how that becomes so open. But I just want to point that out. Oh, Chiefs get all the calls. That just tells me you're a casual. So what I like as the 5th eligible, I like that being the playmaker. This is if you got a bad mamma jamma, if you got a mismatch on the outside, hit him with an out route. That's where you can forget the concept and go straight to the alert. But you only want to do that first and second down. You don't want to do that on third down. I'll bring that up in a minute. But here, this concept's for the right hash. This concept's for the left hash. So there's also a bunch of little details that go with this. You know, like on Madden, it does everything for you and it doesn't do the little details. Well, in real football, you got to learn that and you got to execute it. So here, with mesh, we're on the left hash. So the mesh railroad concept, the running back's going on the wheel route to the left. This is where your pass protection is going to be a half slide to the right. So there's 4 down linemen, so it's going to be a 3-man half slide to the right. And the reason why that is because you want your quarterback to see who he's hot of, where his eyes are. You don't want him to be hot on his right. He's looking left and he just gets blindsided. So here I wrote down the half slide. I'll call that a Rio. They're going to go to the Will. That leaves the Mike. You can call that the Sam because he's on the tight end side. That leaves the quarterback knowing that's who he's hot of. The third guy I put the flame on, he's kind of your maybe. He's definitely going to be guarding someone, but there's no rule saying he's not going to blitz. So something to keep in mind. So watch the lineman. Boom, right here. Half man slide to the right. The right guard's guy's eyes on the Will that they identified. The progression here, and one thing I forgot to mention, you could do this in multiple formations. So here we got a wing left slot. What the read's going to be for Anthony Richardson is going to be the wheel, and I put 2 dots there because there's 2 different times you read it. The second is going to be the underneath route. Third is going to be the hook defender. Fourth would be the over mesh, and fifth is going to be your X, your playmaker. Here, it's part of the concept itself because Colts have a playmaker. So right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a left to right concept when you're doing it from the left hash. You're doing it from the right, it's a right to left concept. Rubs, as I mentioned, you want to get in the way. You want to change the path. You can't hit them. That's illegal contact. Some will argue you can do it within 5 yards. That's kind of more of a goal line thing in my opinion. But here, that's where watching the rel. It's open. He doesn't take it. But boom, second read. Just like the Bills play. It's a real quick bang, bang. Just left to right. Who's open? Got it. Here, we already showed the pass protection. But I like to see the quarterback's perspective over like the tighter box view. So right here, I'm going to pause it here in a second. Boom, the rel's open. The guys run into each other. But this is a split second. So I'm not going to dog them. But here, you're going to have Pittman. I believe it is Pittman. The second read coming underneath, just like that. So it's a real bang-bang play. So I'm not going to dog, be a quarterback couch because we're already doing that enough here. Here, this is where you get creative. Same concept. Now the running back's going to come in an orbit motion coming around. So the rel's going to the right. So 83 is probably going to be the player going over. You're going to have an underneath to your left. Pittman's going to be the hook. So they took away the rel route. The second read, the underneath player, look like he's going to be taken. The hook's not even finished doing its route. Read number 4. Boom, right there. Getting yards. If you catch him in man, it's perfect. If you're like the Rams who like to do tighter formations because your wide receivers can block like dogs, that's where you can run the same concept. This would be on the right hash. So little details or kind of extra notes that I like to add is that look at this play right here. It's a tight formation like I mentioned how the Rams would do. And here, let's read it from right to left. You got the H, some guys call that the C. He's the one doing the wheel, the rel. And now you got 2 players going over the top, kind of like a super mesh. And then you got the X on the left going over. But look at the F right there. He can angle himself from 11 o'clock angle, get in the way of the X. Then the Y and Z are also meshing on that X. That's 3 rub routes right there. A key detail, what if they're not in man? What if they're in zone? So this is from a QB School, best YouTube channel on X and O's. This is from Alabama. If you can see here from right to left, the Y and the Z, the Z is the hook defender, but see how the Y, he settles down. So Alabama, regardless, they do it. But right here, Chiefs do a great example. Look at Juju on the bottom slot. He's running. He's going to settle down right there because it's zone coverage. That was a classic cover 2, just 5 players underneath, 2 over the top. It put 6 in the box, but right here from Mahomes' perspective, right there, just sit down. Just sit down. So as I mentioned earlier, you want to run the concept on third down. You don't want to go to your alert on first or second because if you don't hit it, then you're punting. So look, the underneath route was open. Mahomes is just forcing it because they're so desperate on big plays at this point. But that's mesh railroad for you. So I'm just going to keep freestyling this. I'm going to break this up differently. But mesh traffic, this is also called T-sleeper. What it is, it's mesh up top, and the running back is sneaking through, the A or B gap. Kind of depends how the way the flow goes. But right here, everyone meshing up top, player coming underneath, and then the running back sneaking through. So breaking this down further, they're on the left hash. That's where 49ers are going to create a bunch formation. Ayuk's all the way down at the bottom. I'm not the biggest fan of that. He should be closer in. Of course, that's like I'm criticizing Shanahan, but at the same time, you'll see the Chiefs do this concept next. But right there, everyone doing a super mesh up top, up top, up top. If you can get in the way of the man defender on the running back, it's going to be wide open. So here, what I like what the 49ers do is that they scoot out CMC. That's where it kind of helps you to figure out who's going to be man on him, even though it's already kind of obvious. But watch this out. See how everyone's getting in the way. Everyone's getting in the way. I'll break it down better for the Chiefs. It's a better example. The Chiefs play is a clinic view of what MVS does. So watch what MVS. Number 11. He's going to get his defender in the way of the man defender, the running back. That is perfect. That's how you do it. It's not like the Bills where you run into the guy. Watch for MVS coming onto the screen. I know it's going to be hard to see. Right here. Boom. wide open. And he did not run into the Cardinals player. Hang on, I need to keep this going. So right here, Kelsey by himself. This is going to be a one-man show. So here it's hard to tell who's man on Damian Williams. But if you can get Sherman in the way, which he pretty much does, that changes the route or the path that whoever was guarding him, it changes it. And that's where they barely get it. So boom, you learn mesh railroad, you learn mesh traffic. So I wanted to kind of tie this into Super Bowl 57 because as you saw at the beginning of the video, the guy was calling for the mesh concept. So first off, what you need to learn is rock and roll. What it is, it's a cover one defense because teams in the low red zone, in other words, 5 lines or 5 yards or less, that's called low red zone. That's where they play man. So here, when a player goes in motion, the man that's playing man on him, he's going to move to the safety spot, and the safety is going to rotate over and meet him on the other side. So in other words, they're switching responsibility. So here's another good example of this play. Watch, Sky Moore's going in motion. His man's going up. The safety's coming down, and look, he meets him there. That post safety takes Justin Watson. Mahomes got no answers. One thing, keep in mind, Chiefs have always sent their guys in motions going across the field. And why you want to rock and roll this, because if you just play man and you don't rock and roll, that's where these guys are getting a head start and just beating their person to the goal line. I'll show the same play with McCall Harmon again. It's not complete. It's one of Mahomes' worst throws, but look, he goes in motion. His man falls. He gets a running start. Then they say hut. Look, he's already got his man beat. It's wide open. So the concept itself ran great, just not the throw. Packers here in the division round, the 2020 season, they got Jalen Ramsey. So he goes in motion. They identify its man. They also notice they're not rock and roll, not going to do rock and roll right there. It's open. Jalen Ramsey can throw fit. He's the most overrated dude. I'll argue that all day. So back to Super Bowl 57. Here in the third quarter at the goal line, you're going to see, I believe, Sky Moore go in motion. His defender, I'll break down this real quick. He's going to go in motion. They're in cover one. It's a single high safety. So that's where they're going to rotate over. The man's going to go to safety. The safety is going to meet him across the field because Chiefs have always shown on film they go across the field. So right there. And look, what's this? It's mesh traffic called T-Sleeper. Chiefs are running it. They did Super Bowl 54. They're doing a Super Bowl 57. You saw the 49ers do it. Is it an essential to the playbook? So right here, that's where I didn't fix the audio on this. But Sky Moore's coming in motion. They rock and roll it. It's kind of hard to tell who's rock and roll it because Eagles can't communicate well. They're going to rock and roll again. So that's back-to-back plays. You've seen them rock and roll. So they rock and roll twice on that play. The rock and roll on the last play. That's 3 rock and rolls they figured out in the third quarter. They're setting it up. They're playing games. So right here, this is where Sky Moore's going in motion. They rock and roll it. That also brings the corner out since he's going to safety. That sets up the run game. A little added detail I should have said earlier. So here, that's where the Kadarius Toney touchdown. His eyes are not on him. They're so focused. The Chiefs have gone across in motion every single time, and they just yank it back. So that was the corn dog concept that you always hear about. Here, Packers are going to do it, but watch this. As he's about to go in motion, they're rocking and rolling. But here's the key detail. 24 keeps his eyes on him. He doesn't go rogue like the Eagles player and takes his eyes off because I got to get to my landmark. I got to get to my landmark. No, he's communicating and keeping his eyes on Davante Adams. That's where Eagles screwed up. It's a dead play. Keep that in mind when we go over this later. So here in that same game, very next play, if Buccaneers just want to keep playing man on Davante Adams, this was kind of F you do something play. Play man on the best receiver in the league at that time. Good luck. So right here after the Kadarius Toney punt return, this is going to set Chiefs up for the Sky Moore touchdown. This is I've known the details of this play, just watching other guys break it down, but I learn more as I'm doing it myself. That tends to happen when I'm making these videos, so I love it. So right here, I showed you guys this play earlier. This is where Sky Moore's going in motion. They're going to rock and roll the coverage. So this is them. They're still rocking and rolling. They after the Kadarius Toney touchdown, they're still rocking and rolling. So here, they adjust it. They're not going to go single high safety man. They're just going to go freaking dog mode. They're just going to go cover 0. Bring 6, figure it out, right?
Third down, goal to go.
Hey, Mike, he's having wide. It's cover 0.
Audible called by Patrick Mahomes.
So as I mentioned, cover 0 means we're bringing 6. There's 5 eligibles on every play, so that means everyone's man on man. So what I like they do here is that they do end up bringing those 2 linebackers. So Mahomes did identify correctly who to focus on when it came to the pass protection. One thing I like to mention on this is that see how that safety is kind of close to that nickel? You could have stacked that because Spagnuolo does this a bunch where you could, here I'll put the Mike's blitzing, but then that's where you could have the nickel blitz and that safety that's covering over the top, they call it topping him. He ends up playing man on, I believe, is Noah Gray right there. So that's where you guys have seen this before. It was the 3rd and 4 play in the Super Bowl where see how look at the bottom, McDuffie in the slot. The safety's topping him off. That could be a telltale of like, hey, the nickel could be blitzing because that safety's got to replace him. He's bringing the blitz. Safety ends up covering Ayuk. The play's open. But if you're bringing 6 and they block 5 in this instance, you better get home. Right here, rushes the progression. Perfect. So right here, we see from Mahomes' view, he's got to identify the Mike because in 6-man protection, that tells you who the running back's going to get, and the line is going to go to the will. I'll break it down.
Goal to go.
Hey, Mike 57 wide. It's cover 0.
So now we have a Mike identified. We're going to the left with the Mike. So that tells the line they're going to the will, who happens to be on the right in this instance. So that tells the line it's a 4-man front, so it's a 3-man slide. They're going to the will. The running back's going to take care of the Mike if he does come, and they're we're getting ready for cover 0, and then the other 2 are man on man for the most part, unless if there's a twist. But breaking this down, this is where you're going to see. Watch Creed Humphrey. He's going to the right. McDuffie's going to fill in the A gap to the left for number 57, who declared the Mike. Just like that. I don't like. Don't dive around the court. Don't dive at the guy's knees because now you got dudes diving at Mahomes' ankles. As I mentioned, if you're in man defense and you keep your eyes on him, it works.
Hey, time out.
So what happened here? First off, Chiefs tried to call timeout. They didn't get it. But guess what? Who cares?
Did not have a TD in the regular season. He's got one now.
They want to call timeout because the Eagles are in the right defense. Here I'm redoing it because the 22 film it glitches. So right here, look at the man covering Sky Moore. He's running ahead of him. The Chiefs, the last drive, just juked it out. Corn dog, right? That's where left wide open. I'll zoom in a little bit further. Watch. He's ahead. His eyes are not on him. They're not rocking and rolling. So why are his eyes over there? And that's how he ends up wide open. So Chiefs will try to get timeout because as I show on the Devontae Adams touchdown, if you just stay disciplined, it's not going to work because they already exposed the concept on the Kadarius Toney play. But it doesn't matter. Eagles busted the coverage. So if they would have called timeout, they're not running that concept again. So Chiefs, it worked out.
Hey, and we're in the wrong formation.
I know we were. That's why I went the motion to right.
Hey, did you know we were in the wrong formation?
Yeah, dude. I went left hash. I was trying to get the cover 0 protected. And then I looked out to the right and tried to motion, and KT pointed that way. I was like,
Let's roll. Hey, update now.
hey, we're not done.
Yeah, so when coaches call a timeout, it's typically because the defense is showing that they're in the perfect coverage for that concept. So rock and roll rotation you just got down. 6-man pass pro, we dipped into it a little bit. But, yeah, you just got to step away from being a casual. Congratulations.
3, 2, 1,
Go. Oh, Sky Moore! Yes! Yes! Pressure's on! Pressure's on!